All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is, October the 23rd, 2013. Good to have you here this afternoon. As you can tell, we are going to review how to launch your own business in 5 days. And we're talking about the medical billing business here. And we certainly want to get started here. But we first want to take care of a couple of housekeeping things. There are several people on here who might be brand new to the webinar. And so we want to make sure that everybody is hearing us. And so as I go to this next slide here, let me see if I can hit my down arrow key. You should be able to see this next slide coming up there where it's got a little picture of an icon of a hand. If you don't mind clicking on that hand, that will indicate to us that we are right along, that you can hear us just fine. So I see David's hand, and I see Richard's hand, I see Ron's hand, Tamika. It's good to see you, Ned, Joanne. So we've got a good crowd showing up here. We've got others that are coming in. Curtis, good to have you here this afternoon. Again, we want to welcome you to this afternoon on how to launch your own business in medical billing in just 5 days. But as a quick introduction, my name is Eric Auger. I've been with American Business Systems going on 6 years now. And just having a ball going through everything that we're going through here at ABS, especially in the medical billing and everything that's coming new down the pipe here. But first of all, again, for those that have never gone through a lot of information with us on our webinars, we want you to know how to get to know us. So that's the first things first. So if you have not yet been out to our website, we certainly want you to take notice of that. Let me see if I can get, there we go. At absystems.com, you'll find a lot of information just on our website. You can see about the business package there and the income potential. And underneath the news, there's a blog underneath there, which we'll talk about a little bit more here in just a second as well. But if you really want to do your due diligence, we would encourage you to click on this orange button either here or the one here at the top. What that would get you to is what's called our virtual brochure. In our virtual brochure, we go over just sending you some videos, welcome you to understand a little bit more about this business. On this section here where it says opportunity, you can see through each one of these, you will be able to go through several sections here in each one of those. So you're going to want to go through that virtual brochure and get all the information that you can. Now, what that will do, it'll spark some other questions that you're going to want to go through. And that's when you want to get in touch with us here at American Business Systems. And then one of the ways you can do that is just come by and visit us here at our corporate office. We are at 5751 Kroger Drive here in Keller, Texas. And certainly we want you to be able to have the freedom to come on by here or just simply give us a call. And we'll certainly give you the number here towards the end of the presentation as well. I mentioned to you earlier about absystems.com and that news section, and underneath there is our blog. Underneath there, we post videos every single week. Matter of fact, Patrick just put a new one up there today of someone that just came through training back in, I believe, was at the end of May or the beginning of June or July, and already has his first client. So I think it took him about 60 days. So I'll even ask Patrick a little bit more about that when we get him on the call as well. For those that are tech savvy and would like to follow us on Twitter, here's our Twitter address at absystems. So please join us there. You'll get the blog information there as well. You can see next week is our live training workshop, and it is sold out October the 28th through November the 1st. But nevertheless, we've got another one coming up. We have one more at the end of the year, December the 9th through the 13th. So you're going to want to be able to book your travels, get here. If you were unable to get to our workshop here at the end of October, you can see that we're pretty much skipping November and getting ready to get started right back up in December. This, again, will be our last class of the year. Now, let me introduce you to Patrick Phillips. Patrick is our founder and CEO of American Business Systems. He has written 2 books, as you see here. He has actually authored other books and co-authored other books. But let me go ahead, and he's already on the line with us. Patrick, it's good to have you here this afternoon.
Hey, Eric, thanks for the great introduction to our webinar. This is going to be a good one because, a lot of people who've been on these webinars, listening to all that we teach and train people on the medical billing business, are still not convinced that they should join us, or maybe they're still doing their due diligence or putting their funds together. So I think it's great today that we're talking about that live training workshop. This webinar today is on how to start your own business in 5 days. Well, that's how you can do it. Come down to our 5-day live training workshop, and we'll show you how we get people started without, well, I guess, Eric, most of them that come through don't have any background in the medical field, do they?
They really don't. And again, I would say probably less than 10% ever actually come into our training or even become part of American Business Systems that have really any, what I would say, thorough understanding of the medical billing business at all.
Right. Well, so I'm ready to jump in there anytime you are.
Yeah, let's get. I'm going to try to get to this next slide here. There's a couple of. I know that you always like to start off with talking about the business, and Patrick, you know a lot more about this particular quote than I do from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Why don't you kind of talk a little bit about the medical billing business and the growth that's going on there?
Well, I love this quote because, again, we could say this all day long. You and I, Eric, could talk about this, and it doesn't really mean anything. But when you have your own government on their website, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, I think it's just bls.gov, you guys would find this quote about the billing industry in general, but specifically about healthcare. It says the billing industry, especially in healthcare, is growing, but actual on-site jobs will be reduced because the billing will be outsourced. Now, I think that's an interesting thought, Eric. Why do you think that is?
Well, Patrick, you and I did, or let's see, we did a webinar last week. We actually heard from some doctors, some actual doctors, that were saying that they're having to reduce their staff really because of the Affordable Care Act. And so that's why we're starting to see a growth in the billing being outsourced, because really the doctors can't afford to have anybody in the office there.
And it's actually a whole lot cheaper. We've seen savings of up to 50% for doctors who were doing it in-house and they decided to outsource it to an outside billing firm.
Well, and I know, Patrick, a lot of people are always asking, I wanted to get back to this one right here. People are always asking, how long will medical billing be around and coding? And again, you and I and the rest of the team, we've gone pretty extensively over the last few weeks on the Affordable Care Act. And why don't you talk a little bit about, the prediction that this is going to boom all the way through 2020?
Yeah, they've kind of looked out and done the research as to how this particular industry, the medical billing and coding industry, would do by the year 2020. What is that, 7 years from now? It's going to jump by 21%. In other words, this is a growth industry unlike anything out there. You guys have heard all about this, I guess, on the discussion of the new healthcare law, that this is 1/6 of the American economy, healthcare is. So to jump up and grow by 21% in the next 7 years is just a phenomenal growth industry.
Well, I know that we are talking about today because next week's training, and I'm going to kind of let you start driving the slides here, but let's just jump right on here and let's start talking about what people are going to start learning. So do you want to leave our cameras up, or do you want to shut those down until the end?
I'm okay with leaving them on, Eric. Okay. Let's just see how it goes today.
Very good. And folks, before we get started here about what you're going to learn at training, this is a webinar really for you in mind. I know that we've done a topic like this in the past. So if you don't mind, if you'd like to ask any questions, you'll see it over in that little corner up over in the GoToWebinar control panel that you have. There's a little question mark. That will open up a window for you to type in questions. So feel free to type in any questions at any at any point during the topics today. So, all right. So Patrick, let's talk about what they're going to learn.
I think that little hand is up in this direction here. I don't know.
Yeah. So just in general here, we're going to be talking about the medical billing business, and I would assume, Patrick, we're going to learn a little bit about terminology and all this. So let's take it from here.
Yeah, people ask, well, how in depth is this training? Guys, we go from square one as if you didn't know anything. That means terminology. We're going to cover everything, all those acronyms that you maybe have heard, EHR, ACA, PQR, all of those things that are coming, ICD, CPT. Those are things that you'll learn in the class in a section called terminology, medical billing business basics, it's called. And of course, we also go through the actual steps that it takes from the day that you get the information from the doctor, how you get the information from the doctor, what you do with the information. I'll give you a hint. There's no paper involved. It's all electronic. Everything you get from the doctor is all done electronically, paperless, and that's the way you want it. This would be a very I would say you'd get inundated by the paper, wouldn't you, Eric? I mean, buried in a short period of time if it were paper.
Exactly.
So you find out exactly what documents you're going to need from the doctor and how to get those electronically from the doctor. And then probably the most exciting part, which is what Eric does at the training for us, he goes into the actual overview of our cloud-based iClaim system to do the billing, and we bring in the laptops.
Exactly. I think we've got pictures of those coming up here, about showing a few slides there of the classroom there, Patrick. So you want to take control of that and just go ahead and go to the next one there for us?
Sure.
I think there's a picture of us going, and there we are. We're going right through the class. There's some pictures of you and of all of us doing hands-on work through this. So.
I threw this one in there, Eric, because that's you, obviously, doing the training right at that moment. And then, of course, you see one of our other instructors there just to your right, Eric's left. And we have another picture of her, I think, coming up here, too, the one that actually shows the laptops in the classroom there. And this is Cynthia Anderson. Now, Cynthia is out in Arizona, and she's been a licensee of ours for about 5 years now. Had no background in medical billing whatsoever, and has built her business to literally a seven-figure business for her. And yet she still finds the time to come down every once in a while and do the training for us. And Eric, why do you think, explain why she can do that? How does she get away for a week?
Well, it's pretty amazing because, again, number one, since everything's in the cloud, everything's in the cloud there, and so we're able to, and people just like her, whenever she has a break, we've seen her go back to the back, or if someone else is teaching, she's actually maybe run to her room to check on a few things.
Yeah.
But then also she's been able to build the business large enough to where she has other people working for her too as well. So she's really just kind of overseeing and managing. That's what's very impressive.
Yeah, you can do it all. She brings a laptop, like you said, and does it from there. And she's actually taken vacations, to the beaches of Hawaii and run her business from her laptop there as well. So that's the great thing about this business, folks. It is a virtual business to some degree, even though you're dealing with literal physical medical offices in your area or anywhere in the country as far as that's concerned, because there's no territories. But you can still do the business from anywhere with all the technology that's available nowadays.
Hey, Patrick, a question's come in, and it's from one of our folks that are actually coming next week. And Part-Time asked about, we were told not to bring our laptops to class. So will they be provided with the laptops there to use there in class?
Absolutely. I think did that previous picture have that? I forgot to look at that.
I believe it did.
Yes, yeah. This is the one that actually shows, we bring in these Toshiba laptops for you to use during the class when we're doing the hands-on with the system. So no, there's no need to bring your laptops. Now, we do allow, and I don't think I've ever said this on a webinar or in writing somewhere, but we have seen people sneak in their iPads, and that's okay because they're not as disruptive as a laptop. Laptops run out of power. They need plugs, the noise of the typing and so forth. But a lot of people bring iPads nowadays, or any kind of tablet as far as that goes. As long as you don't have to have it plugged in somewhere, you're welcome to bring one of those with you. But yeah, the laptops are provided. And hey, that next picture there looks like some old fat guy sitting at the front of the room there. Can you tell who that is, Eric?
That's you, Patrick. I tell you, I'm not saying you're a fat guy. You said that, not me. But what's nice about the class, folks, is not only are you getting instruction from us here at ABS, and that could come from any of us, or you're not just getting taught by other licensees. I can't think of another business out there where the founder and CEO actually participates on hands-on during the week. And Patrick, you're one of those unique guys.
Well, they can't keep me away. They tried, but they can't because I love this business and I love helping people get started and be successful in the business. I'm kind of like the Dave of Wendy's. You remember Dave, old Dave of
Right.
Wendy's? I just haven't, passed away yet.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, but I love it. Here's another shot. I think this is from the front of the room towards the back there. As you can see, we usually put these into what we call a conference room assembly because we don't want people thinking anything other than this is an open session where you can share, you can ask questions, you get to know the other members of the class. Believe it or not, this is your support group. We get you introducing yourselves to one another right at the very beginning because by the end of the week, believe it or not, folks, you will be bonded with everybody in this room because they're starting exactly where you're starting, right? From scratch. And yet you're going to find some interesting backgrounds. I don't know if you can tell from this picture, but there's different ethnic groups. There are different age groups. And of course, the backgrounds as far as what kind of businesses they've been in or not been in, the type of work they've been doing. It's fascinating once you get to know these people, and they are your initial support group as you move forward. You'll stay in contact with these people for the rest of your life, probably.
Exactly. Well, Patrick, let's start talking about what they're actually going to be learning. And I love this next slide that you have up here is that we actually train you and position you as a revenue cycle specialist. Let's talk about that because I think this is probably the biggest key to everything right here.
Yeah, we have a little flyer that is a part of your package when you purchase your license, folks. You get, 200 or 300 of each one of these flyers. And this particular one, as you can see, has a little diagram on it that is called the revenue cycle. So let me show you that a little bit closer here. This is what it looks like. And we talk about this in class that, folks, you are not referred to in the class as a medical biller. You're not in medical billing. We will teach you exactly what you say to your friends and relatives, as well as your prospective clients. But you're basically a revenue cycle specialist. That is, you deal in the revenue cycle of a medical practice. And Eric, why don't you kind of explain what that means from that diagram?
Yeah, and I'm going to actually tie it into a question that actually came in, and I believe Elia, hopefully I've got your name said properly, because the question comes, does your business involve in coding or just the billing part? Well, we look at it from a full revenue cycle, which is actually going to include some coding. Now, I want to say that, but also preface that for nothing for you to have to be concerned about that you have to learn coding, and we're certainly not going to teach you coding in 5 days.
Right.
But what it is all part of the revenue cycle. Everything from the top there where you see the receivables to the reimbursements to the electronic records, the payment options, the coding, there's that, and then the marketing. So, folks, when we get involved in a doctor's office, there are companies that do just billing. We like to have our fingers in a lot of things in that doctor's office because that will help you have that doctor for a longer period of time because you're more of a consulting company to him or her than just a medical billing company. So I think that helps explain it in a little bit better scenario. But then again, as we said this, we train you, and then the second word is that we position you as that revenue cycle specialist. And I think that's why, Patrick, you just did a interview with, I think his name was Mark. You may correct me on that. He just got that. You just sent that out today that he got a client in 60 days after coming through training.
Yes, Scott Mathewson, right.
Yeah,
We just posted that. Yeah, we just posted that blog out there. It's amazing the stories of success that you guys will hear. If you haven't gone to our blog, I think we showed you how to get there earlier. But anyway, it's on our regular website, absystems.com. And just put a /blog right after that. And you'll see dozens, literally dozens of videos where we've interviewed various licensees, and I can't remember the last time I talked to a licensee that said they had any background in the medical field, especially in medical
Right.
billing itself. So, yeah,
I
that's
believe
right. We're
his
going to
background
position
was,
you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh, I think you had mentioned that his background was actually in finance, but I think what his big takeaway was, and I think his biggest fear, I think like everybody on the call today, his biggest fear was how is he going to go out there and get clients? I mean, again, Elias is asking how does a newbie in business get customers? I think this is one of the ways that we do this. It's all positioning.
Yeah, think about it this way. I always use this example, Eric. I don't know if this is a good one or not, but anyway, I tell people, look, once you get into a doctor's office, yes, you want to do his billing, but it may be that when you first approach a doctor, they think it's all under control, either by their own staff in their own office, or that maybe they've outsourced it already to another company, and they're happy with it. At this point, they don't know any better, right? They don't know what pain they might really have. And so we teach you to go in as a consultant to just find out, to take a practice audit, so to speak, to find out whether they really, really have their receivables under control. Believe me, most of them don't. 9 out of 10 that you talk to do not have it under control. And so we're going to show you how to go in and position yourself as the company that they will think of when they do decide that they don't have what they need.
Well, Patrick, I mean, these are the topics that we're going to be going over, and I know that you just mentioned a couple of them. You actually mentioned something like intro to marketing and warm marketing, and you know how to use the follow-up method, the practice analysis, the proposal and pricing. Folks, you're going to walk away with all of this information. And I believe Scott also said, man, you're going to walk out with so much information in that week is unbelievable. But I think that's what made him and his wife successful.
Yeah, I usually ask this question during the live training workshop. What were you and your spouse or partner saying behind the scenes? And he said, after the first day, we said, this is it. We know we've picked the right company, the right industry. They were basically sold on the fact that they had made the right decision. And that just comes for different people at different times during the week. That's why we have our 100% money back guarantee, which I'll talk about towards the end of the webinar, because we know what we have, folks. We're pretty confident that you will see that too as you go through the week. And it's because we cover so much. Look, some of these things may not mean a thing to you. Some of them are some of the services that we'll cover and ways to market and so forth. But we go into depth. I'd say half of this training, Eric, wouldn't you, is on how we help you to find those first clients. Because
exactly,
let's face it, that is the hardest part of any business, including this one. So we've kind of specialized that in the last 20 years and figured out what to do and what not to do on that. So that's kind of our agenda for the week there. Believe me, it's a full 5 days from 8 o'clock Monday morning till we end up a little bit early on Friday so we could get everybody out back home. But believe me, it's a good 35 hours of training there.
Well, these are all the services and some of the marketing things that we actually go through here. There's a little picture there of the training workshop student manual and the proposals and all the different flyers and everything that we're actually going to. You will touch every single one of these pieces that you see here on the screen right now during that week of training.
Right. We go over each one. We give you a sample. We explain how you use it in your marketing efforts. And believe me, by the end of the week, you have a whole stack of stuff to take home with you. And we even give you a canvas bag with our logo on it to carry it home. That's how much stuff you're going to carry away. This is the training manual that Eric just put up on the screen. And there's kind of the index there that we just showed you on the screen. It's a huge, thick manual. I think I have one here somewhere, Eric. No, that's not it. But it's a big, it's probably good 2 or 3 inches thick.
Yeah,
in other words, it's very complete.
Yeah, and to set people's expectations, you certainly don't. All you need to come to training is with yourself and an open mind. We're going to go through all of this information as you, again, see here on the screen. Each one of these flyers that we have here is going to be thoroughly reviewed with you, how to use that in the presentation, how to get this to doctors, how to get this past that gatekeeper, So those are some of those key elements that we are always wanting to help you with in that particular training. And I think one of the nicest things that we have here, Patrick, is not only are we teaching all of this, but the material, the proposal, this flyer presentation folder that we have here, this is nothing that anybody can just go print up on their inkjet printer. This is stuff that's very, very nice.
And it's not branded with our name, of course, because you're an independent business. When you join ABS as a licensee, it's not like a franchise where you use their name. You will establish your own company name. We have a whole section on business basics where we teach you how to choose a name, how to set up the right entity. We even bring in an attorney during the week. She is there to help you if you haven't already established the type of entity that you want to set up, and she can help you with that. This is very generic, and yet it all ties together. Let me go back to that previous screen where we had all the flyers there and just show you that those flyers, as you can see, look like they're all created as a franchise, right? Franchise would have something like this. But notice our name or logo is nowhere on there. What you're going to do, of course, is have these printed with your name and contact information and logo on these flyers, and we even have a certificate that we give you that you can actually have those printed. That's a part of your license. So now, if you don't know what all these are, this is something you probably really ought to go in depth, like Eric pointed out earlier. Go to our virtual brochure if you haven't already. Engage with your ABS business coach, the person you've been talking to or should be talking to, and they can answer all your questions individually about each one of these services. But it's kind of like I tell people, it's the number of harpoons that you put into a whale determines whether or not you're going to keep that whale or whether he's going to get away, right? So in a doctor's office, you want to put all of these services into play in his office to solve all of his revenue cycle problems. Like Eric said, nobody could ever come and take that client away from you. That's why our licensees, once they have a client, they have him or her for good.
Yeah, exactly. And then let's get to the book real quickly, Patrick, your book on the cash crunch to cash flow. Because, again, this is another one of those areas where we're teaching this in class. Now, you've written this book with a CPA, and I think you even got another CPA that actually did the forward. Let's talk real quickly about how this book is actually used in the marketing part of it in that training area.
I think I have a copy of it right here.
Okay.
Here we go.
There we go.
Now, this is a paperback book that you can find on Amazon.com. It's about 176 pages. It's made to be a handout, a giveaway. And you'll find it on Amazon as a $14.95 is the price on it. But you buy this as an ABS licensee basically at our printing cost, which is about $3 a copy. So it's cheap enough to where you can brand it on the inside. We purposely left the front inside blank so you can put a label in here with your name and contact information and give this away to the doctors. And we'll even show you during the class how we help you mark the book up, put little tabs in here and highlight some things in the book so that the doctor doesn't have to read the whole book. Hopefully they just flip to some of those things that are marked and go, wow, I need to find out more. And they'll contact you and ask you to come out and do the practice analysis that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
so it's a marketing tool for you.
Yeah, and all these things that we're showing you so far are a lot of our marketing pieces that we have for you, and you get this in your business package once you become a licensee. So you can be getting this, but there are opportunities during the week, Patrick, to even get more of these. Patrick likes to teach by example. And so a lot of times we are telling you how to develop a little reciprocity between you and the doctor. And so we're going to show you the same thing as well. So although you're getting a lot of this in your business package, there's even opportunities to get more of it as well. Patrick, a lot of people ask about testimonials from other doctors. You want to kind of talk about our video that we have with doctor testimonials?
Yes, Eric and I spent a good part of a year, I guess, researching, writing, and flying out to another city to actually do interviews with doctors who are actual clients of some of our licensees, and interviewed them. And so we have about 5 or 6 doctors on this DVD that is in a nice case that you can have printed with your name on the back. and you give this out to doctors who are maybe doing the billing inside their own office with their own staff. Because as you can see, it's called Why Medical Providers Outsource Their Billing. And if a doctor's been kind of wondering whether they should outsource or not, if they take a look at this little, I don't know, Eric, what is this, maybe 5 minutes or more,
Sure.
they will find out from their own peers, other medical doctors, why they decided to outsource their billing. So it's a sales tool, again, for you as one of our ABS licensees. You buy these, again, at our production cost, which is, I think, about $350 a piece. And that is a great tool to show you. So if you're wondering what happens if they ask if I have references, well, you already have the references. They're right here on this DVD to begin with, because they are clients that are being serviced by other ABS licensees. So think of it this way. You are a part of the nation's largest network of independent medical billing companies that are out there. We're it. We have over 1,500 licensees nationwide, and you become a part of that and can tie in with that and seem to be much larger than you really is. Kind of like opening a Century 21 office, even, although you could open up Billy Bob's real estate office, it's better to have kind of a positioning yourself as a part of a large network.
Patrick, I know that we've been showing a lot of things of what they're getting part of their marketing, but again, I would say that we probably spend about 60 to 70% of our time in that week of class of showing people how to get their clients. I mean, we could teach them all week long about how to actually input a claim and follow up on claims and this, that, and the other, but the reason that we're showing this to you is not just to kind of rehash anything. What we're really doing is showing you how we're going to show you how to use the videos or the websites that we have here. Again, we've got several different, this is just a sampling of the website templates that you can use for your business. I mean, we certainly know that. And then I think one of the things we'd like to talk about, Patrick, is this big
trade show display,
show booth that we have here. Let's kind of just briefly talk about how they can learn how to use this. And I think this thing's out right now as we're talking.
Yes, it's usually out. We have licensees borrow this from us all the time. Basically, we are just trying to cover our costs. It cost over $5,000 to produce this, and it's a very professional booth meant for a big 10 by 10 booth at a trade show. We'll show you how to find those trade shows, what to take with you, what to do, how to gather names, how to follow up. It's a whole marketing tool in and of itself. And it's a part of your package. You can borrow this anytime. You just reserve that with us. We also have a tabletop version of that as well.
Exactly. And then we have these our postcards here. And Patrick, you really like to talk about the drip marketing campaigns.
When my wife and I started doing medical billing back in 1987, we didn't have these kinds of marketing tools. We had basically printed stuff off on our dot matrix printer, or had something mimeographed, duplicated at a local print shop. Folks, we've designed full color, glossy, professional postcards like these, for example, as a means for you to do marketing in your area, to let the doctors know. We have a whole campaign set up with all of the cards that you see here that go out on a regular basis automatically. So you'll learn about that system called AutoCard during the live training workshop. There's a picture of some of our services, and one of them there, as you can see, he's circling AutoCard. That is a tremendous tool, folks. It's an online greeting card and postcard database of over 18,000 different cards that you can choose from. We've already designed the ones that you need within that system, but you can also use it for your own personal birthday cards, Christmas cards, or whatever. This is one reason why our licensees are successful, far more successful than we used to see back in the early days when my wife and I were doing it, because we didn't have these kinds of tools. So we spent over $100,000 developing some of the stuff that you're seeing here on this webinar today. People ask us all the time, Eric, what is this $25,000 licensing fee for? What am I paying for? Well, first of all, you could do all that we've done. You could recreate everything from scratch, just like we've done. But believe me, you'll spend a whole lot more than $25,000 doing that. It's better just to buy the business in a box, I call it. It's
There
like
you go.
being in business for yourself, but not by yourself, because we're right there helping you build the business as well.
Well, Patrick, there's a couple of questions that have come in, and one from Richard. Richard's asking, do licensees get these marketing materials as part of their package?
Yes, in fact, I think at this point, Eric, it's over 2,000, almost 2,500 pieces of marketing material. It's plenty, believe me, to get your first client. Many licensees never use them all. And then if you do, for some reason, want to order those in the future, they're always available through us at our printing cost, basically, with your name and logo, of course, printed on. Yeah, you get a big stack. You get a big stack of the books that we mentioned earlier, right, and the DVDs as well. Everything's included.
William's asking another question here. I thought we'd go ahead and tackle this one while we're kind of right in the middle of everything. William's asking the question about, is the display shipped to you, and how long are you allowed to keep it?
We don't have any real time schedule on that. You can keep it as long as you need to. We tell you if it's like a 2-day trade show, we'll ship it to you early enough to where when you get it, you'll have time to learn how to set it up. You'll have time to take it down and take it home and package it up to get it back to us. As long as we don't have other licensees where it's bumping into use of the thing, you can keep that for any period of time there. We make sure you have plenty of time to use it.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about what we're going to get started with day one. I kind of like to look at this. Day one and day two, we're going to be talking about basically the heart of what you do as a revenue cycle specialist, and that is the use of iClaim and EMRX. Patrick, you want to kind of talk a little bit about both of those?
Yeah, iClaim, of course, is just our branded name for the for the cloud-based version of our software that's out there in the cloud, just like most software is nowadays, that allows you to go in and do the medical billing from any computer anywhere in the world. And as Eric's showing here on the screen, it's a very user-friendly system. It's accessed just like you would access any other software that's on your computer, except it doesn't reside on your computer. And there's a reason for that. You don't want that data to be stored on your computer. That's very important patient data that belongs to the doctor, right? So by having it stored out in the cloud, that means you'll just go to any internet browser, type in a certain location, go there, log in with your password and username, and boom, you're using the system. You're looking at it right there on the screen.
Yeah, and actually, the reason we've got this up here is because in class, you're going to get a sheet that looks just like this. This is actually called a doctor's super bill or encounter form, and then there are codes right there, and you're just going to transfer those codes from there over into this section here. So, Patrick, it's basically just data entry here. Going from one thing to
That's
another.
right. If you're accurate and able to, copy what you see there, what's circled by the doctor on this form into our computer, that's what medical billing is basically doing exactly what the doctor tells you to do and nothing else. And as long as you do that, there's no liability. You're simply doing what the doctor told you to do. And of course, you have electronic records of all that. And it's just a very simple thing. Now, why would a doctor outsource it to you? It's because behind the scenes, there are things that our system does that checks for errors before you submit the claim. It's very, very sophisticated software that will make sure that before you can even submit it, it's checked for errors and won't let you submit it until they're corrected. And then even if something does go through and it gets to the clearinghouse, the clearinghouse is another entity that looks at all this stuff and reformats it and sends it on to all the different insurance companies. Even if they catch something, you will have something back on your screen telling you exactly what needs to be corrected in plain English. So you can't make a mistake with our system. That's why our rejection rate, Eric, is nationwide, less than 2%.
Well, that's why we're throwing this up here on the screen. And this is one of the reasons that the doctors love the system, folks, is because it provides such transparency for the doctor. Patrick, you and I both have heard from doctors that say, "Oh, I don't want to outsource my medical billing because I can't get any reports," or "I'm having trouble with my own staff getting me reports," and they're right there in the office.
Right.
And we actually get to show the doctor how easy with one or two clicks of the button they can get to hear, and then also see if they've got any rejections. And most of the time, it's usually less than 2% or less.
Yeah, and since you mentioned that, Eric, let me just pause here because, there's so much we could cover in this webinar. But folks, what you're looking at is a screenshot, of course, of us actually using the system. We actually allow you to set up appointments with doctors to get online, just like we're using GoToWebinar today, to present this to the doctor in real time. We are actually in the system doing medical billing live right before their eyes, letting them see the system, see the reporting, and see for themselves what you will be using to bring their rejection rate way down. And they're just, Eric, they're blown away every time they look at it.
Exactly.
Eric even does some of these demonstrations along with some of the staff members we have with our technology partners. And he says, Patrick, all I hear throughout the whole thing is a little wow back in the background. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. The doctors are just going, wow. And then we get to show them. And again, so this is like day one. We're spending our time in with iClaim and having hands-on and getting you to know that. And then actually day two, we're moving right from there to the EMRX portion of it. Patrick, you want to maybe move that slide up there to that next one there, the EMRX?
So you can move it sometime, but not every time, huh?
There we go. Yeah, maybe there's just a little bit of a delay there.
That is.
But here we're getting into the EMRX. This is electronic medical records. And I know, Patrick, you, again, being such a lover of technology, you just love how this flows. And why don't you talk about how the system was actually built for the iPad in the first place?
Yes. When we designed the EHR, the electronic health records for our system, we decided that we wanted to make sure that even before the iPad came out, now this was designed before the iPad actually arrived, 2 or 3 years ago, I forget how long it's been now. And doctors, when they first saw this, couldn't believe it because it works perfectly. It's got big buttons, as you can see, that are easy to touch on the screen. And it was meant to be used on the iPad. Why? Because our designers actually took the iPhone and designed the software before the iPad was released based on the iPhone, and then all it was just a matter of resizing it, for the larger screen that the iPad has. So the point is, guys, that doctors love this tool because they can walk around in the office, seeing the patient, interacting with the patient, tapping little buttons there that just do everything that they need to do to record the accurate encounter between themselves and the patient. And they just absolutely are blown away when they see this.
Well, and the good thing about training is what we're going to do, you're actually going to see this in training and demonstrate it live to you. Sometimes we do it live there in class. Sometimes we'll do it via a GoToMeeting to where we're actually showing you how we do the demos for you, for your doctors. Now, Patrick, I know we might have some time to get to that here in just a little bit, but once you, just in the event